And welcome to the Hockey Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. I'm your host, Ryan Gilbert. Joining me is my co-host, Joel Meyer. This is where I normally pass it to Joel. He tells a fun story or something, but I'm fed up. I had an issue in my basement earlier. We thought I had to postpone. So Joel went out to the store, so we had to delay it a little bit. So we decided to order some food. There's a place near us. It has good milkshakes, good burgers, good fries, just a nice little comfort food. Very, very quick. So, it came to us. I'm like, all right, the bag's out there. No milkshakes, though. Then I look at the bag, not our food. So it was some guy ordered 3 double cheeseburgers with salt, pepper, fried onions, and tomato. So I at least killed 2 of those. But and she had to order something else now while we're recording. So it's been a night here after recording the Broad Street Hockey Podcast after work today. So it's been a quite the fun 5 hours here. How are things in Vancouver?
Well, was there a drink at least? Like, was there any drink?
I got wine, right? I got wine. That wasn't all my wine in for tonight, Joel.
So yeah, interesting. I was gonna say if it was just one drink, then it was, all 3 burgers was probably just for the one guy. But if you didn't order any drinks, maybe it's for multiple people.
Yeah, that's what we were trying to figure out. Like, did this guy just order 3 of the same? Like, are there 3 people getting them, or what?
I mean, I'll be honest. I sometimes do that. They have those 2-for-1 kind of deals. So you get like 2 mom burgers, A&W, then you get a team burger on the side. I'll polish all those off. Yeah. Hopefully you got a good refund though for that.
I did. Got a full refund. Got $7 credit for my next order, so I'm good.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah, my day is going probably about as shitty. I mean, with the tennis bets they're all crashing out. They were doing so well, and then 2 girls had to win the quarter, to win the final, and they both lost today as significant favorites. So that was no fun. And now I'm watching another bet where I probably lose. Grigor Dimitrov got him 40-1. Again, he's a favorite, but he's losing currently to the American Francis Tiafoe. So that's what I'll be watching on the side here. Probably bitching on him a breath most of the time, but that's the way she goes. Hopefully, the other quarterfinals go better tomorrow on Wednesday.
Yeah, so there's been some upsets didn't like some unranked guy beat one of the favorites. Was it Alcaraz or was it one of the other guys?
Oh, well, both Djokovic and Alcaraz went out to minnows. I mean, Alcaraz was even more surprising because at least I don't know, Botic fun. I don't know who did Djokovic lose to. I'm getting them mixed up. I think Botic beat Alcaraz, and then Djokovic lost to I don't remember now. But yeah, Alcaraz was minus like 100,000, something like that, 10,000. It was something ridiculous.
Right. So didn't someone bet like, was it 25,000 to win 250 or something dumb like that?
$25,000 to win $250. So RIP to that. And Yannick Sinner is the only real big name left. The current big 3 in men's tennis. So hopefully he comes through now. I got him and Medvedev because I'm assuming Grigor is going to lose this because he does not look good at all. So yeah, it's time to sin, baby. Yannick Sinner is my guy, and Daniil Medvedev. And they play each other, so at least I got one guy in the semis, and whoever that is, I'll be cheering for him. But the women's side, I don't even want to talk about. Just absolutely brutal on the women's side today.
Is that closing out? U.S. Open closes out this weekend then?
Yeah, you know what? I'll be watching the rest of the United States and Canada, I guess. Be watching the NFL, but I'll have the U.S. Open final on the main screen at least. So, yeah, hopefully, get somebody home. Come on.
Yeah, hopefully one of yours hit. So, football's back. Make sure you subscribe to the Sports Gambling Podcast main feed. Make sure to enter the free roll football contest up to $3,500 in cash up for grabs. Sign up at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/free roll. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/free roll. But yeah, it's September. There was some chill in the air today. It feels like hockey. It feels like football. It feels like hockey. So hockey season's here. Before we start getting into the real news, we got to touch on the unfortunate passing of Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Gaudreau last Thursday night in South Jersey. Had very close to home he's a Philadelphia guy. The rink he played at when I grew up, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes from there. So like, he's always just a good guy. I mean, no one has anything bad to say about him. Just a star in the league, won a Lady Byng, they should be naming something after him. It's just tragic how it happened. It's senseless for the driver. It's just horrible to hear about it. And like everything you read about it after the fact, Kevin Hayes talking about it, the Blue Jackets going through another tragedy after their goalie a few years ago. Sean Monahan signed there to play with Gaudreau. So just very, very sad times, tragic times there for the Gaudreau family.
Yeah, I mean, what else can you say, really? I mean, it's just really fucking stupid to drive drunk like that, and yeah, that's the shit that can happen. And the fact that it was on the eve, I believe, of his sister's wedding too, so the whole family's gathered there for celebration, and then they're just mourning. So it just ruins the girl's wedding, and now it's kind of like I'm assuming they went on with it, you know. But in any case, it's going to be remembered more for the death than anything else, which is unfortunate in that respect as well. So yeah, total tragedy. I'm sure most people listening to this have heard better eulogies or obituary or whatever we're trying to do here, memoria, than we're doing right now. But yeah, that sucks. I've talked a lot of shit about Johnny Gaudreau in the past, that's for sure. But of course, human life, real life matters more than hockey most of the time.
Yeah. Those Flames teams with him, Kachuk, Lindholm, I mean, all those guys. Those were fun teams. Battle of Alberta a few years ago. Like, it's a shame he wasn't able to win anything. Or
yeah. I mean, like I was saying, I was when the Avalanche played the Flames. That's when I really developed my Flames hate when we played them years ago in the first round. And yeah, Johnny, yeah, he was a bit of a choke artist in that series, but. All the best to him and his family, and of course his younger brother. Should mention him as well because he's not a famous hockey player. He's just playing in the minors. But of course, outside of hockey, they're human beings. So rest in peace. Godspeed to the family.
Yeah, Matthew Gaudreau had a child on the way. It's sad to see. So the GoFundMe going around. Make sure you check that out if you can. Share it, donate to it, whatever. Blue Jackets holding a candlelight vigil Wednesday night, 7:30. They've had stuff outside their arena. Calgary's had stuff outside their arena. So, cool to see that the stuff come together, but it's unfortunate how it is. And just recently, in the past hour, not sure if you've seen this, that Cole Caulfield is changing his number to 13 in honor of Johnny Gaudreau. He said he wore 13 earlier in his career at some point, so now he's going to be, honoring him with that. So cool to see there. Interested to see if other players do that across the league.
Yeah, that's good to see. 13 was, I don't want to bring myself into this conversation, but 13 was my number growing up when I played sports. So I guess I have that little bit of a connection as well.
Yeah. So yeah, thoughts and everything to the Gaudreau family or anyone affected by the tragedy. Just, sad, especially, leading up to this season in there for the wedding. So just thoughts and prayers out to them. All right. Some hockey news on Tuesday, which apparently was agreed to last week, but the Oilers held off due to the Gaudreau passing. Leon Draisaitl is locked up in Edmonton, 8-year contract, $14 million AAV, tops in the league. I was hopeful he'd hit free agency. Maybe the Flyers could go after him, but he wasn't leaving Edmonton, especially after the Stanley Cup. How the final ended.
You know who else was rooting for that? The Toronto Maple Leafs. You know why? Because
you saw Austin Matthews and McDavid together. They're recruiting each other.
That's right. All of the Maple Leafs fans were hopeful that Draisaitl left and McDavid would return home to Toronto. But no, Draisaitl signs, McDavid's going to sign there. Even though, if he's a smart man, if they don't win this year, it's going to be pretty bleak going forward, carrying that huge cap hit through the next 8 years. So their windows is going to be obviously limited by their age to begin with, but now with the cap restraints even more tighter, it's going to be a bleak years because they're not going to be able to go around. They got the Nurse contract. I know it might be worth it to buy him out next year to free up some space to actually invest in a defense because they're not going to win the cup with what they got right now. I don't know. I mean, McDavid would have to be like as good as he was last year, and I don't know, everyone else have to play like 200% better because it's hard to imagine this team with that defense, that goaltending, and going all the way. They came close last year, so I guess it's fair enough. But this year is really when they need to do it. When they got still Draisaitl on the 8.5 or whatever he's making now, and Bouchard his cheap deal. So yeah, next year is going to be after that, it's going to be tight for the Oilers to win a cup. So that would be really unfortunate for McDavid to never win, but it's looking kind of not likely, but increasingly possible. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it is. I mean, like Draisaitl 14, McDavid's going to get at least 15. I would think, especially with the cap going up. Yeah, Bouchard's the big one. RFA next summer could be leave them open to offer sheets if they're not able to lock him up before that. Nurse contract is just an albatross there, 9.25 till 2030. And yeah, they'll need veterans to sign lower deals, kind of like we see with Boston sometimes. But I mean, Arvidsson got 4 million, Henrique got 3 million, Skinner got 3 million. Like it's not that minimum. It's not 1 million. So yeah, these next 2 years I think could go a long way. And if it ends up Draisaitl re-signs there and McDavid doesn't, that's going to be interesting.
No way. They're sticking together. They're great buddies on and off the ice. I mean, McDavid could see the writing on the wall with the cap situation in Edmonton. If he really wants a Stanley Cup, maybe he'll prioritize that over signing there. But I doubt that. I think that he's going to be an Oiler for life, or at least till very late in his career.
Yeah. Like you said, though, like I don't think they have any prospects. So their window is small. I mean, Broberg and Holloway just got offer sheeted away, so they're gonna have to figure something out to get some. Maybe Stuart Skinner's the guy. Maybe he can be a number one goalie now, and he can just carry them a bit. But that does remain to be seen as well.
Possibly, yeah. And they have like limited draft picks, and the prospect pool is one of the worst in the league. So yeah, it's bleak going forward. But this year they're the betting favorites, and I can understand why, considering the roster and who they have at the top of it.
Yeah, definitely got to be in the final, if not conference final this year. I saw someone wrote like a Stanley Cup pressure power rankings. I got to think the Oilers are up there. Got to think the Canes are up there. Like these teams only have a few more cracks at it, possibly. I mean, their window is McDavid's career, but like they need to be able to build around him.
Yeah, Edmonton for sure. Carolina, I think, will be good for a while, but I don't know if the way that they're doing things right now is going to lead to the ultimate victory unless they change some things up, I think.
It must be kind of frustrating as like a Canes fan, because it's like every year it's like Stanley Cup or bust. Like you can't enjoy the regular season, you can't enjoy even like a winning around the playoffs. Like it's just anxiety and then a sigh of relief if you win the cup. Which I mean, I'll take that over constant mediocrity, I guess. But like,
no, I mean the Leafs have that like times 100 and 100,000 with the media and the fact that they win one first round and then that's their Stanley Cup. Yeah, so Carolina, and the fact they have like 5%, 2% of the fans of the Toronto Maple Leafs leads to less pressure as well. But yeah, you're right. The Carolina are not exactly in prime position to win.
Yeah. Other news from today is that Torrey Krug is officially out for the season. Confirmed season-ending ankle surgery. We think he has pre-arthritic changes in his left ankle, so he's out for the season. Definitely affects his career the rest of the way with his skating and everything. We'll see if he's able to end up playing. They got Broberg to fill in there a little bit. Justin Falk's still there, so. But yeah, sell on the Blues if you can. I mean, this is probably already priced in because it's been out there, but sell the Blues.
And Dimitrov goes down another break in the second set, so probably gonna lose the second set as well. Yeah, the Krug thing, they probably knew about it. That's why they went after Broberg. It's yeah, it's the Blues D line for the decor there is D line. Watching a lot of college football. That actually went well this weekend, so there's that at least. But yeah, the decor there for the Blues is thin and old to begin with. I mean, maybe it's a little less old now, but it's still even thinner with Torrey Krug, who played key minutes from last year. Now, obviously not as good as he was when he was with the Bruins, but still a valid contributor for the Blues. So it's yeah, huge loss, but not unexpected. We saw the writing on the wall earlier in the summer. And yeah, Blues are definitely a fade team, as we went over in our previous show. I think that was the last one we did. So yeah, I don't see them getting into the playoffs and probably going under 87.5 points or whatever the number is now.
Yeah, fading the Blues again. Fading them last year. They did make it. It was tight down the stretch to finish with 92 points, but did miss the playoffs by 6 points there. Some news out of the Pacific Division, which we're going into the team previews this show. Flames are bringing in Tyson Barrie on a PTO. I had not seen that till just now, so I know there were rumors of him potentially going back to Edmonton, but Calgary, I guess, maybe can offer him a decent chance. They got Uyghur there, they got Anderson there, but I mean, the Flames. The Flames are a mess. Like, they're not rebuilding, they're not competing. They're just there.
Right. Yeah, that's a weird one to me. I don't know what they're gonna use Tyson Barrie for. I'd rather just play the young guys they have in the system. That's certainly not going to help their defense, which was one of the worst in the league last year. And they have enough like offensive players, so that's a weird one to me to bring in Tyson Barrie. I guess maybe like the second power play units. I guess, but yeah, it's just a PTO. That the guy is not as good as he was a few years ago, and even then he was already on a steep decline, and just he can't play defense. So it's a strange one, but good luck to him. He's a BC boy, a former Colorado Avalanche, and apparently great in the locker room. He's a funny guy. So yeah, good luck to Tyson Barrie getting back on an NHL team.
Yeah, Flames need some veteran leadership there in a room with a rookie goalie. So could help there. Yeah, before we get into the Pacific team previews, we are brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy Pick'em gives you a chance to win 1,000 times your entry. The NFL is back, and there are a ton of Pick'em specials to get you started. You can now use specials and boosts on all flexed entries. Sign up with promo code HGP to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code HGP. Right, it's September. We're starting our NHL team previews. Started kind of from the bottom here, bottom of the Pacific. I'm going to do the San Jose Sharks and the Anaheim Ducks this episode. This is largely a Joel segment. Joel does a lot of research for these things, looking at last season, looking ahead. So take it away, Mr. Meyer.
Sure. Before we get into that, we got somebody in the chat, Parker, the underbetter, bringing out some bets. He's got some season-long player props. Listen here. Speaking of the Sharks, we have Will Smith. Under 18.5 goals. Of course, he was drafted by the Sharks last year. I can understand that. The Sharks shouldn't score a lot, and he might not even play every game of the season, although he should. Then we got Brock Besser, under 32.5 goals. Like that as well. He came out of the breakout year last year after a couple down years, mix of injury and personal issues with his dad dying. And so, yeah, I like that as well. He was Besser under 32.5. He overperformed last year. We know, of course, the legendary Vancouver Canucks PDO from early in the season. Besser scoring a bunch of goals was part of that for sure. He was, I think he had most goals in the league through like 2 or 3 months. I remember betting him doing the Richard at 50-1 at that point, but then he kind of fell off, and I don't think that he'll get over 32.5 there either. And then he's got Pasternak, Boston, under 52.5 goals. I don't have much of an opinion on this. I mean, in general, these season-long player props, it's their hit rate to go under it's like 70% because injuries happen and they seldom play 82 games plus some. Yeah, there's an inflated movement because the public likes to bet that score a lot of goals, right? So they want to be cheering for these players all the time. So the unders generally are a good bet. And finally, he's got Marchand. This is the one I wanted to talk about. Marchand under 68.5 points. Apparently, Marchand had surgery for his groin, elbow, and his shoulder. I want to say he had 3 separate surgeries for or maybe it was the wrist. I don't know, but he had a lot of surgery in the offseason. He's playing through these things into the playoffs, so that shows what a warrior he is. And he was arguably the best player in the Leafs series. Like, he was so good despite carrying all these concerns. So yeah, Marchand, 68.5 points. I don't know what his average total is, but that seems a little low. But I can only look to the under there, given the way the Boston Bruins play. But maybe Elias Lindholm on his line can boost his number a little bit. So that's not my favorite one, but I definitely like the Besser and Will Smith picks there. Old Parker, Marchand also playing on Canada yet. He's talking about Four Nations phase off, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that's not going to impact the NHL games though, Parker. So that's that they have. I think there's 2 weeks built off for that or something stupid to get that in there
instead of the All-Star break, which I'm thanking God we don't have the fucking All-Star break for 2 years now because we got the Olympics next year and we got this Four Nations thing this year. So I'm pumped about that. All right, so
Wait, no, I'm going to miss the skills competition though. That was profitable for me. But yeah, Marchand here, torn tendon in his elbow, groin, and abdominal. So like, I mean, the elbow one he's played through, but groin and abdominal are like two core surgeries that could be tough to come back from. So I like that under 67 each of the past 2 years.
And he had hip surgery the year before, so this guy is just he's like the bionic man. What's that? What's the guy? Titanium man? I don't know what I'm saying. But the guy who's he's just made out of metal now with all this metal, all these surgeries going on. But anyway, Marchand is a warrior. That's the point. Let's get on to the San Jose Sharks, who were, of course, the worst team in the league last year, which is why they had the best odds to win the draft lottery and were able to get old Macklin Celebrini. And yeah, so they obviously their point total was 66.5 last year. I believe they finished with 47 points. So that was a good bet there because and they lost to Logan Couture as well. And they had some injuries going on. Of course, they're still playing Vlasic $1 billion, so that's not exactly helping them what they could do with their roster right now. Although they did fix some things, as we'll get into. But last year, it was basically an AHL roster. I mean, we saw them lose games like 10-1 multiple times. In fact, I think the Canucks and the Penguins beat them 10-1 on 2 straight games, or at least scored 8 goals, 10 goals. Yeah, they scored them. It was 10-1 and then 10-2, something like that. I don't know. But anyway, the Sharks were terrible. They were expected to be terrible, and they exceeded the expectations of them to be terrible. Anyway, they had the lowest accumulated points in an 82-game season since the year 2000 Atlanta Thrashers. It's not hard to figure out why, of course, looking at the roster. A lot of career AHL players, NHL players past their prime about 4 years ago. And, of course, like I said, missing Logan Couture. They lost Timo Meier, of course, at the trade deadline the year before. Erik Karlsson right before the season started. So there's just no talent in this lineup, not even young talent with the Sharks prospect pipeline only starting to come in this offseason. This was a team that allowed 331 goals last year, 31 more than the second worst Blue Jackets. So yeah, the opponent's team total was usually a good bet, especially early in the year, as we mentioned, those 8 or 10 goal games. I can't remember if it was 8-2 or 10-2.
Anyway. I looked it up. There were back-to-back 10-goal games. The Canucks, and you said it right. 10-1, 10-2. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 10 goals. That's just hard to fathom. It's cool. Like in 20 goals in 2 games. Anyway.
Yeah, they shit the bed except when you fucking hammered against them.
And they won the game before. I think it was they played your Flyers.
The Flyers, yeah. They beat the Flyers.
And I thought, it's the perfect letdown spot. They suck, and the Oilers they lose in a few games in a row too. So it was absolutely phenomenal betting opportunity, or so I thought. But little did I know, the Oilers were on a train to get rid of Chris Knobloch, or what's his name, the old one, Jay Woodcroft. Yeah, that was probably my worst loss of the NHL regular season. There's no doubt about that. But anyway, when a team that was good as the Sharks for so long, eventually there's a price to pay, and often that price includes an historically awful season, and the Sharks just had that. They took their medicine. Hopefully they came up with someone who turns into a top player in the game, in Macklin Celebrini. He has that potential, and if he realizes it, the 2023 Sharks season was undeniably a success, because you can get a true generational player. It's worth letting in 331 goals and finishing last in the season. So yeah, it was fun watching this team. Of course, I live on the West Coast, Vancouver here. So I do digest a lot of like Anaheim Ducks, San Jose Sharks hockey here, which start at 10:30 Eastern time. So yeah, I saw a lot of Sharks hockey, and it was fun if nothing else. But yeah, it'll be a success if Celebrini turns into a real player.
Yeah, I mean, not much really too much to add for a historically bad team like the Sharks, like you said, since the Thrashers. league worst expected goals 4%, second lowest expected goals for per 60, worst expected goals per 60. Gave up the most goals in the league, yeah, as you said. But yeah, they no entertaining games. You could never count them out, as we found out the hard way. But yeah, I mean, just yeah, like you said, teams have to bottom out to get top talent. I see that firsthand. The Flyers not doing that, so the Sharks being able to add Celebrini to already had Will Smith, who was I think like fourth pick or so a few years ago. That, yeah, they have to load up on top picks and hope some of them hit.
Yeah, fourth overall last year.
Last year, okay, yeah, that's all I got on the Sharks for last season.
Yeah, so looking at their offseason, well, they got Macklin Celebrini, so it's an automatic A, I guess. A lot of that's just the luck of getting the first overall pick in the lottery. What is it, like 33%, something like that for the first the worst team, I guess, something like that. It's a 30-something. But anyway, they won that, so they won Macklin Celebrini, so we'll give them an A. But even aside from that, the Sharks did make several good moves, like taking on the Jake Wallman contract from Detroit. That means their defense immediately improves while they add a second-round pick to their increasing draft stockpile. Similarly, Barclay Goodrow from the Rangers, Cody Ceci from the Oilers, even the Sharks add veteran players to the team while continuing to accumulate picks. This was a very good use of their massive cap space. They also signed Tyler Toffoli and Alex Wenberg, two quality forwards with a scoring touch. Again, massive improvements over the player they were using last season. Players. Lastly, firing David Quinn was also probably a good move. I don't know much about the new coach, Ryan Warsofsky, except that apparently he won the Calder Cup with the Chicago Wolves in 22. But I think it's a good move to start with a fresh voice after the misery of 2023. Even though he was already an assistant on the team, it should be a net positive to get rid of the gaffer and start fresh with all these fresh players in the room. So yeah, it's you got to give him an A.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, great offseason for the Sharks. Celebrini was the prize, but yeah, they got Tyler Toffoli, good addition, good a scoring winger for your top prospect there. Will Smith's going to come up, projected to be the second line center there. Yeah, so they added quite a few pieces. They added, like you said, the depth with Barclay Goodrow. Didn't really lose too much. Kevin Labanc, Mike Hoffman, Kalen Addison. But yeah, they also added Yaroslav Askarov, who could be, their starting goalie, could end up being their starting goalie along with Mackenzie Blackwood and Vitek Vanacek. So they might be even more fun this year, having a goalie that can maybe stand on his head, steal some games, some good young players that can score some goals. Yeah, so Sharks might be games worth staying up for on the West Coast.
No doubt. Yeah, you reminded me, Rick Dollywall, the guy we were talking about in the last show.
Yeah.
So the Canucks goalie news, Thatch Demko is skating again, so that's very encouraging. But apparently the Canucks did reach out to Kevin Lankinen. So if he accepts a deal, like a very cheap deal, then maybe he can join the Canucks for at least the short term here. But I think he's still waiting out for a better offer from somebody who gets injured. But anyway, that's the update on the Canucks goalie situation. Then yeah, we're going on to the projections for this season with the Sharks. But despite the injection, experienced players, despite the new coach, despite the potential of celebrating Will Smith immediately impacting this team, it's hard to forecast a massive improvement over last year. I doubt we'll see them finish with fewer than 50 points again, but the roster still has plenty of holes, especially in the back end. Mario Ferraro, and Cody Ceci as their projected first pairing is not good. And Ferraro regressed massively last year, too, after showing signs of being a number one D in previous seasons. I guess with the maybe he lost some juice with Carlson leaving. I don't know, but he wasn't as good. Maybe he can get back on track. But even assuming that happens, there's still hardly any life behind him. Just a lot of mediocrity. And CC Wallman, Jan Ruta, the corpse of Mark-Edward Vlasic. I know we said earlier that CC and Wallman improved this team, but it's like making it from the outhouse to the back porch. Yeah, you're cold. They're closer to where you want to go, but you're still cold and wet and losing. That said, the forward group looks a lot better, which means we should see some high-scoring Sharks games, even if, I wrote this before, but Askarov was signed there. But Askarov or Blackwood, whoever plays in net, it'll still be a high-scoring team, and more importantly, a team that lets in a lot of goals. So overs would be a good thing to play, especially early on. I mean, yeah, they'll be more competitive this year, losing those 10-goal games to the Canucks, the Penguins. Yeah, it shouldn't happen again. I mean, that was kind of historical. I'd like to see if that's ever happened before in the at least during the salary cap era in the NHL. I doubt it. But to go from
giving up 10 back to back, or
yeah, back to back.
Yeah,
Usually after a team loses 10-1, they don't fucking give up the next game 10-2. You usually get some kind of fight, but that's what happened for them last year. So yeah, I doubt that happened before, at least in the recent history. But yeah, but to go from 47 points to 64 or 65, as the market expects, is asking a lot from a team that's still deprived of skills. So they're finally moving in the right direction, but we think they have at least one more bottom three season in them, and there'll be another draft lottery team, I believe, probably with the Blue Jackets and maybe the Blackhawks. So yeah, definitely on the under here. That's what I bet for their point total, and looking at overs early on in the season before they get lined at like a juicy 6.5, I think.
Yeah, I was looking up last year. Surprisingly, the Sharks had more under games than overs. 42 overs, 36 unders, and 4 pushes there for.
They had no scores.
Yeah,
they couldn't score.
Yeah, and as you can see here on the YouTube stream, I put up their forward group, daily faceoff projections at the very least. Delbrini, Smith in the top 6, Tyler Toffoli. Should at least be a decent power play, I would imagine. Eklund, Michael Granlund, Fabian, or Fabian, if you will, Zetterland, Henry Thrun, Macklin, Celebrini. Yeah, so yeah, hopefully they're a fun team, but they're not improving by 15, almost 20 points from their 47 last year to 63.5 is what I have written here on the screen. You can probably shop around, maybe get 62.5. But 2-1 for the worst record could be in play again. They had it by far last year. Some improvements last year, or this off season, but I don't know if anyone's going to be worse than them. Maybe Columbus. We'll get to them to the Metro, but I don't hate that at 2-1.
I don't want to be insensitive, but what's the Blue Jackets' worst record price tag?
Yeah, no, I think I saw like 250 or around there. Let me check DraftKings real quick.
Yeah, I think that team's going to be demoralized, and they don't have a lot of talent to begin with. So
plus 320 on DraftKings. That's
I think that's price. The bet. Yeah, going back to the Sharks here. Yeah, last year was losing Carlson. Like they traded him in like August, right? Or August or September to the Penguins, and then just going into the season with he was like the whole offense the year before. So without him, I can understand why a lot of the games went under, because he was the driver of the offense, like and the defense. Like the goals that the opponent scored were largely when he was on the ice. So yeah, it's losing Carlson like that is it was another reason why this team was just tanking so terribly last year. But yeah, interesting new lineup here. They should be more competitive, but yeah, like we said, it's asking a lot for them to get to 64, 65 points now.
Yeah, and one of the teams in their division that might be improving this year is the Anaheim Ducks.
Righto. Yeah, the Ducks are a team that consistently have hope for, because they have all this immense talent in their young guys, and they start off hot, but they fade fast. That's just what the Ducks do. I think the past 3 seasons, they've had this awesome start, but then they just fall apart. And they went from they went from allowing the most shots on goal in the league, nearly 40 per game, to just 8th worst at just over 30. So massive improvement defensively, at least. A lot of that's to do with the structure that Coach Cronin introduced, playing a trappy style of hockey. I remember we noticed this last year, that even when the Ducks were losing, he frequently refused to open things up, as though he was fine losing 2-1 games instead of 6-3. So that's the reason why the Ducks were a lot more exciting 2 years ago before Cronin arrived. But that's probably a good thing. It's good to get them to know the structure. Like a bargain bin version of the Kings at times. That's how they played. But I think that their players deserve more than that. Hopefully they realize some of that potential this year. But last year, Jonathan Gibson continued to regress, barely posting an 89 save percentage. He also had the third worst goals saved above an average number. Stolars, who played almost as much as Gibson, had much better numbers, but these two are only about league average. I wouldn't be surprised, though, to see Dostal play more than Gibson this season, because Gibson is he's definitely not worth what they're paying him these days. And Zegras, speaking of regression, also suffered a lot of it. He missed the majority of the season with the injuries, but still only managed 6 goals and 9 assists in 31 games. Wasn't he on the NHL 2024 cover, or was that 2020?
I think
he was on one of them.
It may have been 2 years ago. I should know this. One player was on it last year. It may have been Bedard last year.
Yeah, okay, maybe. Yeah,
no, it was Makar. It was Makar last year.
Okay,
you should know that. Come on.
I don't play fucking video games. But yeah, the point is, Zegras was on the cover of one at some point, and 15 points in 31 games. That's at least partly why he's been involved in trade rumors, which are still going on. At least we saw a few glimmers of hope in the likes of Olen Zellweger and Pavel Mintyukov on the back end. And of course, the Cutter Gauthier trade is exciting. But overall, we didn't see enough evolution from this young team to consider 2023 a success, even if they did get to draft another top prospect in Beckett Seneca, however you say it. So this is a failure, I think, of a season, because I mean, they lost Getzlaf the year before, and they showed it that they don't have any kind of leadership or experience. And this team just they're in a larva stage right now, and they didn't make any progress at all last year. So hopefully, for their sake, they make a bit of an advance this year and get it going again. But yeah, last year definitely not a success.
Yeah, definitely not. Last year just seemed to be like a mess in Anaheim. Drysdale and Zegras, I think, went in deep into training camp without contracts, so that led to eventually Drysdale being traded for Gauthier, who is exciting this year for the Ducks. But I mean, last year, Zegras, I guess, didn't get training camp and then was hurt, so he's just. We'll see if he can bounce back from that. But last year it was not good at all, as you said. Middle of the pack, expected goals against per 60. Expected goals for per 60 was not good. Third worst, ahead of only the Sharks and the Blackhawks. But anytime a team has John Gibson or Lucas Dostal now, looks like he can be a guy. Maybe that they'll be decent this year. But looking back at last year, we said it more last offseason, but overpaid for Alex Killorn, overpaid for Radko Gudas, who just made a bunch of business decisions during the season, especially against the Maple Leafs. Didn't really trade to get any future draft picks. So the Ducks are kind of just in a holding pattern, maybe going to figure out if they can trade Zegras, because they have 3 centers now, and Zegras is probably the third best out of them with Carlson and McTavish. So hopefully the Ducks can get something going this year.
For sure. On to their offseason, which we have to grade poorly. It's just more of the same, picking up a couple vets and Brian Dumoulin, who was awesome 2 years ago, but really, or was it 3 years ago? Anyway, he's played very poorly lately. And Robbie Fabry, who had a decent year with the Red Wings, but still, it's just a move to help insulate the younger players growing up in the roster. Not a huge fan of the Seneca at pick 3. But it's a bit of a reach, but the Ducks management tend to have a history of just doing their own things. So we'll see if that works out for them. Stian Stolberg at the end of the round, I believe. He's a nice pickup for the back end. He's supposed to be an elite defensive defenseman, which is definitely what the Ducks will need when they finally become a competitive team again. As we know, their defense is not good. I mean, it's more the structure that's been able to save their ass last year in some respects. Anyway, would have liked to see more weaponization of their cap space, though, and collect more picks from cap-strapped teams, as it's likely. So it is a pretty ho-hum offseason for the Ducks. So I think we can give them nothing higher than a C. I mean, look what the Sharks were able to pick up some picks for their cap space, but the Ducks are being very cheap, I guess, and just not choosing to pay players who won't be playing or can't play in order to accumulate draft picks. So we can't grade them highly. So a C.
Yeah, a C might be being generous, because I think that Beckett Seneca pick was pretty awful. I mean, they're fairly set at young forward. Tortori's not young anymore, but I mean, Gauthier, Frank Vetrano's 30, but Swiftcherry's still 26. That counts. And they have Carlson, Zegras, McTavish. So they have a good group of young forwards. I guess Mintyukov is that on defense, but like if I were a Ducks fan, I would have rather seen them maybe trade down out of the top 3, stay in the top 10, get one of those top defensemen like a Yakimchuk or a Zane Parekh or a Silev and get a defenseman to bulk up that blue line, because that's really what they need. I mean, hopefully Mintyukov for them can be something, but Zellweger too, 20 years old, Jason Lacombe, 23, maybe they can be something, but yeah, and they have cap space, $20 million in cap space. They could have offer sheet somebody. They could have offer sheet a goalie. They could have tried to trade John Gibson, seeing what Dostal did last year. I mean, yeah, they're just sitting on their hands for no reason with all this cap space, and teams are looking to get under the cap, and they're doing nothing. Maybe something will come of it. Maybe there's a Zegras trade in the works somehow, but the Ducks are not looking good.
Not at all. I mean, I don't know. Management, ownership are broke. I mean, the Sharks are they're letting in our guy Shark, probably listening right now. He gets tickets for like $1 a game these days. that's how terrible their prospects are this season. They're just basically giving away tickets. But I don't know how it's going on with the Ducks and what their ticket prices are. But yeah, they're just sitting on that unused cap space, and maybe that's what they need to do from a business perspective, but from a hockey perspective, it's not good, because when you have all this cap space, the best way to use it is just to take on these players that the good teams don't want, and just to get picks that way. Yeah, on to their projections.
Well, before we get to that, hopefully the Ducks can get back into the rhythm of things, and we're brought to you by Rhythm. Have you ever wanted to create your own sports betting model for football? Do you even know what a sports betting model is? SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that's helped provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and more. The Rhythm College football had me on Colorado with North Dakota State under 59.5, which was a sweet cash. Make sure you check out what Rhythm likes this week in the app. Claim your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMMM. And we're brought to you by Game Time. NFL's back. Make sure you check out Game Time, authorized ticket marketplace in Major League Baseball. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the start of the game, with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. You get the slash deals as well, zone deals, views from every seat in the venue, so you know exactly what to expect before you arrive. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code SGPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code SGPN for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, Joel, what do you got for the Ducks this upcoming season?
Motherfucking Dimitrov had a break point to take a Tiafo here and break back. He's actually on serve right now, so we got the break back, but we could have almost sealed the set here if you just hit that fucking shot. And now Tiafo's got the
Parker's asking what's outside the window. Joel's watching tennis on his TV over there.
Yeah, but yeah, as you can see, it's very sunny as the sun sets here in Van City. Yes, the Anaheim Ducks. Their projection. Yeah, you got the odds listed here. 7.5 points, plus 450 worst record. I mean, I don't want to really touch that. It's plus 450 I think would be a better bet than the under 7.5, because a lot of these guys have so much potential. I mean, you look down the middle. If Zegras was, if he reverts to what he was 2-3 years ago, you got Leo Carlson, Trevor Zegras, makes McTavish down the middle. A highly irate McTavish and Leo Carlson, of course, second overall pick last year. Unfortunately, we had Fantilli there. But I see he's projected to play on the top line, interestingly. McTavish, I think he'll be playing on the top two lines, at least sometime during the season. Carlson, Zegras, McTavish is on paper, it's an elite down the middle center pairings or center top three there for the first, second, third lines. Yeah, I mean, Troy Terry, I think he's their best player, to be honest. Like the analytics guys love him at least, and he can put the puck in the net. And he really took off a couple years ago and hasn't looked back. So I love that top line there with him, Carlson, and Killorn, assuming Carlson plays every game this season. Unlike last year where they were load managing him. Then, of course, we got Cutter Gauthier down in the lineup. He played a bit towards the end of the season. I don't really recall how well he played, but
I think he had an assist in one game, so not a really big sample size.
Oh, okay. Well, he's got a potential, which is all the Ducks really have in a lot of spots. McTavish and Gauthier, and of course, especially on the back end there. Yeah, I love the potential. It's just a matter of if they can realize it, and it's not looking. I didn't bet them this year for once, except for Greg Cronin at 50-1 to win Jack Adams, because the Ducks make the playoffs and they're like 13-1 to do so. Then Greg Cronin is definitely a finalist at the very least. So that's my bet for the Ducks, my only bet so far. And yeah, we see the Ducks roster and we see loads of players with mass potential. And once again, we are tempted to expect them to fulfill at least some of it, but we continue to be fooled by this. But yeah, it's on paper. The Ducks strong down the middle, like I said. Same thing defensively. Cam Fowler continues to be reliable presence, playing every game, but what across the past 2 seasons. But he's 32 now, and he has seemed to regress a bit last year. But you can expect that because the team was just you can only play that well for so long when everybody else around you sucks. Yeah, Zellweger and Minchkov, mentioned them before. They're in line to be elite defensemen, but again, extremely young. And of course, it's tougher to learn defensive discipline than it is to apply your skill offensively. So we can't expect this defense to be significantly tighter this season, but hopefully Cronin opens up a little bit more and this team can be fun to watch. When they're losing games, maybe they can actually try to score goals instead of just not losing by 3. That's something I'd like to see, especially because this is one of the teams I watch a lot of on the West Coast here late at night, like the Sharks. Yeah, looking forward to see Gauthier playing on Leo's wing, and hopefully one or two of the other guns can take a meaningful step forward. But yeah, it's Cronin is my only bet for this team at 50-1 to win the Jack Adams. And yeah, Seneke he's probably not going to play at least for most of the season, and so he's not at all relevant to the Calder market. And yeah, I think Cronin is the only thing to look at for me.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Take Cronin if you like the Ducks and you live in a state that has Jack Adams award. Betting 14-1 to make the playoffs.
You all live in states. You just need to explore the offshore world.
Yes, that is true. You can check out Bet US. You can stay tuned for a promo with Bet US in the coming weeks. But that's one you can do there. Oh yeah, not much to add. Ducks not betting their point total. I could see them going either way here. Don't think plus 450 is good enough for the worst record. I think with their goalie tandem, they're good enough to stay above that. Nope, 14-1 to make the playoffs. Not horrible, but yeah, if they make it, Cronin at 50-1 would be a better bet. I'm trying to see if there's to get 90 points, what the Ducks are at, if they're up there anywhere.
I'll have a look.
Plus 750 is what I'm saying. So I'd rather take plus 1,400 to make the playoffs or 50-1 on Cronin, because yeah, I feel like this team has a high ceiling, but has a low chance of hitting that high ceiling. So yeah, maybe they can use their cap space for something, but right now this is just a stay away from me. And hope like you said, hopefully some exciting games with these young players.
Ducks are 12-1 to record 90 points in the bet 365. But I still don't like that as much as Greg Cronin at 50-1, because if they're getting the 90 points, they're probably they're not just getting 90, they're probably getting a little higher than that, you would think, mathematically speaking. And that means they have a good chance to make the playoffs. And like I said, if they make the playoffs, then Greg Cronin is going to be right up there in terms of his chances to win the award.
Yeah. Anything else on the Ducks before I pull up the Calder Trophy odds? We got a few guys here.
A few guys, yeah, go for it.
All right. Yeah, we got Celebrini. He's at 5-1 on the Sharks, of course. we have Cutter Gauthier plus 650 on the Ducks, and Will Smith plus 750 on the Sharks. Do any of those jump out to you? Not nearly long enough. I don't know if there's any long shots down here on these teams.
Interesting that Logan Stankoven has kind of drifted a little bit. I mean, I think he was in line with Celebrini and Michkov at one point, but he's got the currently best odds.
He is at some books. He's like FanDuel. He's 4-1 right there with Celebrini and Michkov's plus 350. But
true,
Caesars here they're hanging at 6-1.
Yeah, I think that I don't know. I mean, those four guys, Michkov, Celebrini, Stankoven, Gauthier, and Smith, I guess, just slightly behind them. I just can't pick between them. They all have good cases right now, and they're all going to be playing games. Stankoven probably the most because he was awesome when he came in the lineup last year with the Stars and was great in the playoffs as well. So I think that Michkov is a total unknown. You know, I'm not watching the KHL games, and of course he's got the big name recognition, and he is of course some consider him to be almost equal to Connor Bedard. So Michkov could be some value there at around 4-1. But yeah, my guy is Lane Hudson. I've been saying that for a while with the Canadiens. You get him 10-1 now at one book. Yeah, it's yeah.
You didn't learn your lesson with Brock Faber going to the defenseman against a top forward.
Well, Bedard is special. I mean, I don't know if these guys are going to be on Bedard's level. And no, we've seen some rookies win in the recent past. Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes were neck and neck to win in the same year. And missing another guy who won it recently. No, Mort Seider, of course, as a defenseman. So it happens for sure. And Lane Hudson is he's going to be a stud. He's great defensively, and I'm high on the Canadiens, so I'm loading up on the Habs features in multiple respects. So that's my guy for this market. The other guys, I mean, you can make a good argument for any of them. To be honest, I mean, I'm not going to talk you off of any of them. You can't cross any of their names off. So that's my point. Interesting that the Dustin Wolf, I've seen him. He's listed here 15, 16, and then 24. Most places I've seen have been like at 12. So if you just want an off-market price, you look at FanDuel there, hanging at 24-1 for Dustin Wolf, who's going to be playing starter role for the Calgary Flames. So if you like the Flames, bet Dustin Wolf for the Calder. I think that'd be a good one if you get that 20-1 or better.
Yeah, I mean 24-1 even compared to 16-1 is pretty good there. And you got Askarov here. If he takes the net for the Sharks, 40-1. Could be worth a sprinkle, but
no,
I don't know if the Sharks are good enough to get him good enough.
The Flames defense is bad. The Sharks defense is abysmal.
Yeah, Stankoven's still my guy, 6-1. Just gonna get the opportunity with the Stars. But out of these two teams for the Ducks or the Sharks, I guess Celebrini at 5-1. He's not getting nearly the. I mean, he's not Bedard, but he's not getting nearly the recognition that Bedard did, probably because it's in San Jose and not in Chicago, and he's not generational, but he was still unanimous number one, so could see him at 5-1 there being worth it. I don't think Will Smith can get it unless Celebrini gets hurt, and I refuse to bet on Cutter Gauthier. So that's my handicap here.
Yeah, that's a good point. You could probably cross off Will Smith. To be honest, I said you couldn't cross any of them off, but that would be my least favorite of the five at the top there. So, yeah, Will Smith would not be one I would bet, even if he's a great player, but he's not Macklin Celebrini good. So, yeah, I'm done. Gotta watch the rest of this fucking match here. But Parker's asking the next two teams.
Yes.
We're going up the list here. The Flames and the Kings. Flames and the
Kraken. Flames.
Kraken, right? So yeah, Flames and the Kraken next.
Just a comment on Hudson, 10-1. Yeah, that could be good if he gets on that top power play in it with Line, Suzuki, Slavkovsky, and Caulfield. Right now, Daily Faceoff has Mike Mathis in there, but I have to imagine Lane Hudson will get some time there at some point.
Yeah, no doubt. Lane Hudson, I mean, if you watched him at the end of the Canadian season, he looked like Cale Makar out there. So I was instantly interested. And I think the Canadiens' defense is going to be a lot better this year, and their team as a whole, even better than last year. So, yeah, love my Habs this year. And Lane Hudson could spearhead the defensive attack. So, like I said, Lane Hudson, 10-1, book it.
All right. Yeah. If you missed any of our off-season shows, we discussed some of these awards, best record, worst record. Check those out on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube. Subscribe there. Subscribe everywhere. Show us some love. Send us some reviews. Get in the Discord, sg.pn/Discord. If you want to get involved with the show, social media, maybe a guest host, whatnot, reach out to us on Twitter at HockeySGPN. Looking to do some fun new things for this upcoming season. And yeah, we'll be back on Wednesday evening-ish Eastern time to discuss the Flames and Kraken. And I am Ryan Gilbert. You can follow me on Twitter at rgilbertsop.
I'm Joel Meyer, and you can find me saying that I plan to give out some college stuff today, but I'm tired and annoyed by all these tennis players fucking up. So yeah, tomorrow college stuff. We'll get some bets going. Let's fucking go. Football's back.
See ya.